This is a product video for TeckWrap's satin metallic wrap film, and here are the details. Product name, satin metallic, product number HM01 through 07, film type, Reynolite polymeric, roll width 152 centimeters, roll length 18 meters, thickness 98 microns. It comes in 7 colors. The adhesive is solvent polyacrylate, and the uses are on vehicles. On the outside of the box is important product information, including a color swatch of the film, and in the box is an aftercare folder for the rearview mirror and more information on the 3 fasteners that secure the roll. This TeckWrap film has a deep silk satin finish, and the liner has a uniform grid pattern that can help with production. The adhesive is clear to help hide edges and overlaps. For install, standard color change tools are needed. The first step of prep is to remove the hardware. Be sure to do this safely and adhere to vehicle guidelines when necessary. Next, clean and grease the body of the vehicle, and a good tip is to clay bar the surface in order to ensure it's optimally smooth. It's safest to measure the sections of the vehicle and document them. Be sure to cut the roll up precisely into sections and label each panel to ensure high workflow. To help preserve the satin pristine finish, be sure to replace an old buffer for a fresh one. And a good tip is always to start the install on the hood first. Place one magnet on the upper corner to hold it in place, then release the liner halfway if installing solo. Even out the tension and make a permanent hinge in the middle. Apply the film to the surface with overlapping strokes, and be sure to apply firm pressure. With one side set, remove the backing paper halfway again, and then transition the hinge to the other side. Remove the entire liner, place it under the vehicle, make a relief cut if necessary, then shift the tension up and away so it doesn't bunch up at the front. A good tip for corners, is to use the 3D pre-stretch technique, which involves stretching the film in the shape of the corner beforehand, and, once in place, use heat to conform the film tightly to the corner. Then, relax all edges with heat, then be sure to cut the corners first, and the flat sides second. With the hood complete, it's time to wrap the sides, and be sure to do this in sections. This will help ensure full coverage, especially if the vehicle is white. On the first panel, a good tip is to cut off a piece of the backing paper and mark the direction of the film with arrows as a reference point for all the other panels. For larger panels, like on this front door, make a permanent hinge along the middle body line. Once set, on the lower section, keep the liner on and work in stages towards the bottom. For the top area, lock in the area on the side of the window, then make a key relief cut towards the front. This will allow the top section to be relaxed onto the body and make the install much faster. Cut away the excess film on the inside of the window, then feed it in toward the recessed areas. This will help keep the film from overstretching, which is key for long-term durability. Using an application glove and a squeegee are great for workflow. For the door handle cup, warm the film up thoroughly, then work the film into the recessed area, side to side. Overlap movements in order to ensure all the air escapes. For wheel wells, be sure to use a systematic protocol as it's key for avoiding stress in the film. Cut the film close to the edge and be sure not to be too short. Heat, then form the film around the top edge with an application glove. Relax the film again once it's to the edge to shrink it. Then cut the excess film away using a 90-degree angle on the blade so it's a flush cut with full coverage. When wrapping tricky areas like the back doors of this van, solid prep is a good recipe for success. Set up any body cuts with 3M knifeless tape, and double check that there is enough excess bleed on all sides to safely handle the film. This time, set the hinge above the recessed area, then lightly bridge the film over the gap. The key is to try and allow as much film to relax into this area as possible. Set the film on top of the edge with an application glove, then heat the film so it's thoroughly warm, Once it's at the proper temperature, then form the film into the deepest part of the recessed area. Work in stages to ensure proper workflow and focus. Once the film is set into the recessed area, squeegee the flat area last. Before moving on to another section of the door, go over the recessed area again with heat and a glove to activate adhesive flow. The final stage is then to continue the install on the rest of the panel. Around compound curves, make key relief cuts in order to relax the film around them. Use heat to soften the film when necessary and be sure to pull evenly. When relief cuts aren't possible, use the triangle technique to spread the tension out, and always wrap the main curve first. Shift any tension away from it, in this case, towards the corner. It is important to note that on these compound curves, the film can overstretch quickly, so installers need to pay attention. They can see it overstretch when the color and the hue of the satin finish change. In this case, it becomes a little darker and glossy. If this happens, simply pick the film back up, trigger the memory of the film, which will take it back to its original satin finish, then reinstall the panel. The key is this time to pull just slightly less than the first time. If forming the film into the deepest recessed area is deemed too risky, then one option is to change techniques and use the inside-outside technique. This involves starting the panel on the inside flat area, then working it tension-free into the recessed area. Be sure to work in stages during this process in order to avoid the film bunching up, and it's key to read the wrinkles and make proper adjustments with techniques and heat. A good tip is to change the buffer on the squeegee to one that has wingtips. This will help keep the film from being scratched by the squeegee during this process. Once the film is to any edge, it's best to relax the film with heat before cutting. Once it's relaxed, be sure to cut on the opposite side when possible. This is called the solid side cut, and it creates about a 1 centimeter piece of film that hangs off the edge. This can then be wrapped around the edge, which provides extra coverage and hold. Use heat to relax the film on body lines to get a smooth finish. For bumpers, both front and back, a good tip is to see what sections need material and which ones don't. For ones that don't need material, make relief cuts when necessary in order to maintain the satin metallic finish around the curve. Once the curves are done, then it's key to bring the excess film back into any recessed areas, like at the front of the headlight. This is called feeding the mouth and helps ensure that the material is relaxed and it will have extra hold for the long term. For post-install, a critical step for long-term durability is to post-heat at a temperature of 100 degrees Celsius. Be sure to post-heat all edges, curves, and overlaps. And due to the satin finish, avoid going over 100 degrees Celsius as this can quickly gloss the finish and lead to a costly reinstall. For more information on TeckWrap's satin metallic wrap film, you can go to TeckWrap.com and click on Satin Metallic. This will take you to a dedicated page that will show you all the colors that are available. You can purchase it via PayPal, and there's more product information below. You can also follow TeckWrap on Facebook and on Instagram. This has been a product video for TeckWrap's satin metallic wrapping film, proudly produced by the Wrap Institute.